Everyone knows the trademark triangle logo and the signature Prada nylon bags, but how much do you really know about what lies behind the glamorous curtain? Prada's history is as fierce as its fashion, dripping with drama, from fascist ties and bankruptcy to racism scandals.
Known for being fashion-forward, today Prada faces accusations of being racially backward.
I know the devil wears Prada, but I didn't realize he was also their head of marketing.
Welcome to the rise, fall and rise again of a fashion empire. Prada's story began long before Miuccia stepped into the spotlight. Founded in 1913 by brothers Mario and Martino Prada, the brand initially known as Fratelli Prada, Prada Brothers, specialized in fine leather goods, trunks, and steamers. Mario opened his first store in Milan's iconic Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. He rose to fame during northern Italy's leather boom, selling imported English steamer trunks, luxury handbags, and rare jewelry. By 1919, Prada's craftsmanship had earned it the prestigious title of official supplier to the Italian royal house. The brand was granted the right to use the House of Savoy coat of arms and its knotted rope motif in its logo. The distinct royal logo stayed with Prada throughout its 100-plus years in business, and this association cemented Prada as a symbol of Italian aristocracy, exuding class and sophistication. Today, modern femininity is at the heart of Prada's DNA, but it wasn't so in the beginning. Mario Prada's patriarchal beliefs prevented women in his family from working in the business. Ironically, his only son showed no interest in the trade, leaving a void when Mario passed away in 1958. In a twist of fate, his daughter Luisa Prada took charge, defying her father's ideals. For 20 years, she managed the business through difficult times, ensuring it survived until the baton passed to her own daughter, Maria Bianchi, later known to the world as Miuccia Prada. By 1978, at the age of 29, Prada had a new visionary leader who was a rebel and fashionista. With no formal training in fashion, Miuccia Prada defied all odds. But could she turn her unconventional style into a global phenomenon? Miuccia's path to Prada was as unconventional as her abstract designs. Born into wealth, she pursued a doctorate in political science and became deeply involved in feminist and left-wing politics. A member of the Italian Communist Party, Miuccia spent her early years distributing pamphlets and even studied mime for 5 years at Milan's Teatro Piccolo. Sounds like an adorable metaphor. Anyhow, as a child, she embraced the free-spirited hippie style. By college, she was turning heads in elegant Saint Laurent dresses, her bold aesthetic already setting her apart. That same grit and creative vision would later become the driving force that kept Prada alive through the challenges of the late 70s. When Miuccia Prada became CEO, the brand was on the brink of collapse, with just one struggling store and a petty $450,000 in sales. But the winds shifted when she partnered with Patrizio Bertelli, a leather goods manufacturer she had met at a trade show. Together, they dedicated themselves to creating a new era of Prada. While Miuccia focused on design, Bertelli assumed the role of business strategist. Bertelli's entrepreneurial spirit was a big help to Miuccia, as he convinced her to stop importing English goods and start creating her own label. And so she did. In 1979, she launched her first line of backpacks and totes made out of an unorthodox fabric called Pocono nylon, the durable, water-resistant fabric often used to make military tents. The collection, to put it mildly, was an epic failure. Consumers were unwilling to pay nearly double the price for nylon bags, especially when leather handbags were the popular choice. On top of that, nylon was seen as a low-class material, once reserved for Italian military tents during World War II. Disappointed but unshaken, Miuccia Prada decided to expand globally, securing wholesale deals for bags with top boutiques and luxury department stores. The same year, Prada launched its first women's footwear collection, which was an immediate hit across Europe. The Prada nylon pumps were boldly different from the traditional luxury footwear of the time, which typically used materials like leather and suede. These simple pumps in neutral colors of black, navy, and beige reflected Miuccia's minimalist aesthetic that embodied a new kind of luxury, functional, innovative, yet classy. Soon, the hype surrounding Prada brand began to ripple out, marking the start of its global rise. A few years later, in 1983, Prada opened its second boutique in Milan's Galleria Vittorio Emanuele, blending modern flair with the historic charm of the former London House Emporium. With each daring creation, she wasn't just expanding, she was unknowingly crafting the blueprint for the legendary Prada cult. Miuccia's first major success came with the launch of her iconic black nylon bag in 1985, dubbed the classic Prada handbag, which became an overnight sensation. But remember when she first introduced it 6 years earlier, only to face a disastrous reception? This time, Ms. Prada decided to relaunch it with a refreshing twist, and history was rewritten. Simple, sleek, and utterly utilitarian, it resonated with the modern woman. The minimalist Pocono bag, featuring a gold chain strap and Prada's iconic triangular logo, quickly soared in popularity, rivaling Chanel's leather handbags. Quickly, it became the must-have accessory, winning the hearts of Hollywood and fashion elites, with icons like Jerry Hall, Uma Thurman, Bianca Jagger, and Madonna leading the way. In an interview with Vogue, Miuccia Prada revealed the inspiration behind her iconic bag designs. Suddenly, nylon started to look more intriguing to me than couture fabrics. I decided to introduce it to the catwalk, and it challenged, even changed, the traditional and conservative idea of luxury. I am still obsessed with it. Despite the high price, people couldn't get enough, with the rise of knockoffs only boosting their allure. In the mid-1980s, Prada released a remarkable collection of backpacks. Known as the Vela, Prada's first backpack featured a flap top, D-ring strap closure, drawstring opening, and of course the devilishly charming triangle, all in rich dark tones of black and brown nylon. The backpacks were a huge success as they were lightweight, waterproof, fun, and impossibly chic. Prada's functional nylon handbags redefined fashion norms, with the Vela becoming the ultimate travel bag for the rich. Miuccia Prada's industrial meets nomadic designs struck a chord with a wider audience, inspiring her to launch an updated version soon after named the Rucksack. Rucksack was a mid-sized backpack with exterior pockets and a small triangular label. By now, the name Prada backpack had become practically synonymous. Miuccia Prada was already building her nylon empire, and the fashion world was in her bag. Around the same time, Prada's stores became renowned for their tidy aesthetics and signature green hue, later known as Prada Green. As Prada reinvented trends, it expanded globally, opening stores in London, Madrid, Tokyo, and Paris. In 1987, Miuccia and Bertelli married, and together, their union transformed Prada into an unstoppable fashion fortress. The following year, Prada launched its women's ready-to-wear winter collection during Milan Fashion Week. Prada's designs with their dropped waistlines and narrow belts were unlike anything ever worn before. In a time when the fashion runway was ruled by overtly sexualized designs, frills, lace, and bold colors, Prada went against the grain. The fashion world quickly fell for this shift toward empowering, iconic style, embracing her collection of nylon parkas, clean lines, luxurious fabrics, and minimalist color palettes. Inspired by Miuccia Prada's own wardrobe, rooted in school uniforms and dominated by black and brown, the collection boldly challenged the sex sells cliches. Critics initially dismissed her clothing as boring and mundane, but women quickly saw something extraordinary. Clothing that radiated confidence without revealing curves or skin. Soon, Prada became the go-to brand for intelligent, self-assured women, redefining elegance and a rare kind of beauty. The fashion show was a pivotal moment for Prada, setting the tone for future collections marked by minimalism and innovation. Miuccia Prada marked the success of her clothing line with a quote that still stands as her favorite to this day. "What you wear is how you present yourself to the world, especially today when human contacts go so fast. Fashion is instant language." By the early 1990s, Prada had become one of the most coveted brands in the world. In 1992, Miuccia Prada introduced Miu Miu, a bold, youthful line named after her nickname. It was her way of expressing the playful side of fashion, offering a fresh contrast to her more refined Prada collections. The 1993 launch of Miu Miu was grand, with its cowgirl-inspired collection of fringed suede jackets, patchwork skirts, denim, chunky shoes, and bold statement jewelry infusing a rebellious energy into high fashion. The collection captivated fashion-forward women, exuding confidence and freedom, with both summer and winter shows becoming runaway hits. In 1993, Prada was honored with the prestigious CFDA Award for Accessories, marking a turning point in its rise. By 1994, Prada's financial success was undeniable, with sales surging to $210 million, 20% of which came from clothing, a figure set to double by 1995. The momentum continued in 1995, when Prada earned another CFDA award, this time as Designer of the Year. The year 1996 was the turning point for Prada, as the Spring '96 collection didn't just mark a moment, it transformed the brand's destiny. The day before the show, a bomb threat at Prada's headquarters sent shockwaves through Fashion Week. Just an hour later, the venue was cleared and the fashion world held its breath. What would Prada reveal this time? What happened next was unthinkable. Miuccia Prada shattered the sleek minimalism of the past season and welcomed the explosion of eccentricity and color clashes. Gone were the refined silhouettes, replaced by clashing purples, dirty browns, and sickly greens. Her ugly chic vision came to life, not just in off-putting colors, but in designs that borrowed from the most unexpected of places. 50s domestic textiles, now elevated to couture. The infamous Mary Janes, once considered the world's ugliest shoes, were transformed into high fashion icons. Geometric patterns once thought trashy graced skirts and coats, while fabrics like gabardine and synthetic tweeds made their debut in a way that shocked the masses. But what set the stage on fire was the introduction of Miuccia Sludge, an unmistakable yellow-green hue that became synonymous with Prada's quirky branding. Indeed, Prada was no longer following trends, it was rewriting them, stepping into completely uncharted, bizarre territory, making and breaking every rule in the fashion book. As ugly chic made waves, Prada expanded, opening its largest boutique 18,000 square feet in Manhattan. By then, the brand had 40 locations worldwide, including 20 in Japan. With 8 factories and 84 subcontractors in Italy, Prada's operations grew. The merger of Prada and Bertelli's businesses formed Prada BV, with Patrizio Bertelli stepping in as CEO. In 1997, Prada dazzled the fashion world with $674 million in revenue, solidifying its luxury dominance. That same year, another Prada store opened its doors in Milan, adding yet another jewel to the crown of Italian sophistication, but this was only the prelude. In 1998, Prada launched the first menswear line. It was a striking pivot, a minimalist monochrome aesthetic with a neutral palette that rejected the opulence of the 80s. It was modern, sleek, and definitely Prada. In the same year, Prada launched its first ever athleisure line, Prada Sport, later named Linea Rossa. It redefined performance style with technical fabrics, nylon tracksuits, sleek bomber jackets, and the iconic Prada America's Cup sneakers. Using advanced materials like Gore-Tex and 3L nylon, the collection seamlessly blended outdoor practicality with urban elegance. Each piece, branded with a red signature stripe, became a symbol of comfort chic. Adding to this whirlwind of innovation, Prada partnered with Dorigo Group to unveil its first eyewear collection. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the first Prada menswear boutique opened in Los Angeles, marking a new chapter in the brand's global journey. In 1999, Prada was taking a high-stakes gamble, its financial moves as bold and unpredictable as a rodeo. Led by Miuccia Prada and Patrizio Bertelli, the brand made aggressive acquisitions, each one designed to catapult it to the top of the luxury fashion world. It all began in March, when Prada made its first major move, acquiring 51% of the New York-based Helmut Lang for $40 million. With Lang's brand valued at $100 million, it was a calculated risk that immediately solidified Prada's presence in the American market. But this was just the start. A few months later, Prada upped the ante, paying $105 million to gain full control of Jil Sander AG, a renowned German fashion house. This acquisition was a game-changer, securing Prada a powerful European foothold. Yet, just after the deal was completed, Jil Sander herself stepped down as chairwoman, sparking whispers of internal conflict and speculation about Prada's true ambitions. Prada's thirst for expansion didn't stop there. Prada went ahead and acquired 83% of Church & Company, the iconic English shoemaker, for $170 million, further diversifying its portfolio. But the real twist came in October 1999. In a dramatic turn of events, Prada joined forces with LVMH to acquire a 51% stake in Fendi, outbidding Gucci in the process. The $520 million deal saw Prada contribute $241.5 million, but Fendi was in financial trouble, and Prada found itself saddled with its debts. These high-stakes purchases, while ambitious, were a double-edged sword. Prada's revenue tripled from 1996 to 1999, reaching $31.7 million, yet the company was drowning in debt. Prada had no idea that despite its rapid rise, it was spiraling toward bankruptcy. As the 2000s dawned, Prada found itself in the eye of a financial storm that would cast a gloomy shadow over the decade. The fall of Prada began in 2000 as the company made a bold move into skincare, marketing a 30-day supply of cleansing lotion for $100 in the US, Japan, and Europe. But behind the glossy facade, the company was grappling with mounting debts that had soared past $850 million. Determined to steady the ship, Prada raised funds by listing 30% of its shares on the Milan Stock Exchange in June 2001. But the timing couldn't have been worse. The luxury goods market had taken a nosedive, particularly in the US and Japan, and the listing was delayed. As if things weren't desperate enough, Patrizio Bertelli was forced by the banks to sell off Prada's 25.5% stake in Fendi to LVMH. The sale, which raised only $295 million, was a far cry from the lofty expectations set just a few years earlier. The damage was done. By 2006, Prada was in the midst of a long and painful recovery. As part of its reshaping process, the company began shedding brands. Helmut Lang, Jil Sander, and others were sold off in a desperate attempt to keep the company alive. Jil Sander was sold to the private equity firm Change Capital Partners, while Helmut Lang was handed over to the Japanese fashion company Link Theory. But the financial fallout from the Fendi deal continued to haunt Prada. As a final blow, the company sold a 45% stake in Church & Company to Equinox, a private investment group, sending Prada reeling. But it wasn't just in the boardroom that Prada was falling apart. The Spring-Summer 2009 ready-to-wear show in Milan, held in September 2008, was one of the most embarrassing moments in Prada's history. As the models strutted down the runway, something was terribly amiss. The heels were too high, several models stumbled, and two of them fell right in front of the photographers, needing help from the audience to stand again. A French model, Sigrid Agron, couldn't even finish the show, as the height of her heels proved unbearable. The fashion world was stunned by Prada's blunder. Miuccia Prada blamed the slippery silk socks inside the shoes, not the height of the heels. Despite promises to fix the issue, those shoes were never sold to the public, a moment that left Prada humiliated. Prada's 2000s journey was defined by a series of dramatic turns, corporate challenges, financial decisions, and public spectacles. Through it all, Prada remained one of the most influential names, launching its first ever fragrance with scents like Prada Eau de Parfum in 2004. The fluffy amber chocolate luxury fragrance had the word going crazy, and in 2011, Prada celebrated its 100th anniversary, by launching Prada Galleria at Milan's Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II, where it all began. By 2015, Prada launched smartwatches, entering the tech space with innovation. In December 2018, Prada's glossy facade cracked. Civil rights lawyer Ciniere Ezie shared a photo that would ignite a firestorm. Black figures in Prada's storefront, eerily resembling monkeys, complete with large red lips. The image went viral, sparking outrage across social media. The backlash was swift. Headlines shouted, "Blackface scandal," and Prada issued a quick apology, hoping it would all blow over. But it didn't. Behind the scenes, the gears of justice began to turn. The New York City Commission on Human Rights, led by Carmelin P. Malalis, launched an investigation. Civil rights lawyer Ezi filed a complaint, and Prada wasn't just facing public scrutiny, they were staring down a legal barrel. A cease and desist letter, sensitivity training for Miuccia Prada and the New York team, and in 2019, the brand responded by forming a diversity council to show accountability. Was this genuine change or just damage control? Public remained skeptical. Prada faced more than just bad press. They paid the price with a tarnished reputation. By 2020, Prada made a powerful comeback under Bertelli's leadership, surpassing $3 billion in annual revenues after going public in 2011. In 2020, Prada shocked the fashion world by appointing Raf Simons as co-creative director. Known for his minimalist designs, Simons brought fresh energy to the brand. This collaboration marked a significant shift, blending two of the industry's most innovative minds and signaling Prada's commitment to reinvention. Today, Prada remains at the forefront of luxury fashion. With Miuccia and Raf at the helm, the brand continues to challenge norms, balancing its storied heritage with a bold vision for the future.